it's kind of that conversation with them. Does it mean a lot to you to go to school for this? Do you really care about hair? Because you can kind of care about hair and still go into debt for it, or you can really care about hair and know that at some point, kind of like throw it to the back of the burner, that you'll obviously pay off your debt. I feel like I know them quite more personally because I know their financial situation, which is a lot more personal than like knowing a student's favorite color or what they like to do on the floor. I know them a little bit more.
You know what
intimately.
they say? It's easier to talk about sex than it is to talk about money.
Yeah.
Hello and welcome to the Beauty Ritual Podcast, the podcast that discusses age, beauty, and identity. In a world where the pressure to conform rises every day, this is your dose of perfection correction. Today, my very special guest is Kaylee Graham, a film buff and a money manager at Paul Mitchell, the school, someone who helps students start their cosmetology careers. We have many questions for her. Kaylee, welcome to the show.
Hello.
How are you today? I know you had a bit of a 101 glitch on the way here.
I'm good. I forget that LA has traffic and that it takes time to get places. And then now I'm like further east. So now it's like my whole like perception of how long it takes me to get places is all messed up. So
it's a little different from Texas.
Yes, it is. We have traffic, but I don't know. It is different. I spent all of last year dogging on LA's traffic and saying like, it's not that bad. And then now I'm like, oh, maybe it is as bad as everyone thinks it is.
You know what? There's highs and lows and you got to ride them out, whatever they may be. So I want to know, how did you go from being in films to working at a cosmetology school? Did you see that coming?
No, I definitely didn't see it coming. I got into financial aid at my university because I worked at the Student Money Management Center as like my job on campus. And so there, like I was a peer mentor with the other students and kind of talked them through their financial aid. We did presentations and everything. So it's kind of like this skill I have. And then my aunt does financial aid for a community college in Austin. So it was kind of just an easy transition for me. And then when we moved out here, the job market is really hard. So I saw the Paul Mitchell ad and I fit in perfectly. And I do love it. I love being able to help students kind of find their passion and being able to afford it in a reasonable way and trying to at least talk to them about how they can afford it eventually.
Right. That was a huge hurdle, an obstacle for me when I started school. I started at Marinello before I came, which is no longer, she's gone, before I came to Paul Mitchell. But I just remember feeling like there was a huge barrier to entry. And I don't know if they still do this. Can you tell me this? But I remember sitting in the phase one, if they still call it that, and they basically gave you this grace period of like 4 days or something really short to decide whether or not you wanted to be in beauty school. And then you could either leave and you wouldn't have to like finish paying for school, or you could stay and you had to take on the full responsibility.
It's like in the contract, there's like a 7 day, like seven business days where you can decide if you want to come and go. I think that's a little short because from what I understand, what people do in core, which is like the first 6 weeks.
That's what it's called, yes.
Of beauty school. You don't learn anything in that first week. So it's hard to kind of tell if you're into it. But yeah, basically you just owe your kit at that point because you've already opened it.
See, I remember there being in my class these people who were basically starting second careers. So they were people in their 40s and 50s who were starting over, and it was a huge leap for them to be there. And for them, the deliberation was so much stronger than for some of the other students that were like me, like very committed and ready to do it.
Oh, I was going to say, I admire night school students. Those are like our working professionals. Like they're the ones who'd go to work all day and then come to school. So you have to like have a commitment there because you're basically spending a 13-hour day, basically 8 hours of work and then 5 hours of school. Yeah, 13, that's math.
Well, you're in charge of the math, okay?
Yeah.
So I'm curious, do you get to know the students and like what kind of personalities end up in the school?
Yeah. Well, because part of the enrollment is we are working with students kind of understanding. I feel like I know them quite more personally because I know their financial situation, which is a lot more personal than like knowing a student's favorite color or what they like to do on the floor. I think I know them, or not personally, I'd say intimately. I know them a little bit more.
You know what
intimately.
they say? It's easier to talk about sex than it is to talk about money.
Yeah. So, yeah, I find out a lot about if they're younger, I know about their parents, what their parents do. If they're older, I know about their jobs, you know, kind of, yes, I do get to meet them. I also have cookies in my office, so it's like an open door for food. And I have these Target birds that everyone loves to come look at. So yes, I do get to know them.
Your office sounds fantastic.
It is. It's a party.
So I'm curious, you probably don't really get to see people going and starting their careers. You see them in this like beginning period. But where do you find where a lot of like people are coming from when they're going into the beauty industry? Do you find any similarities, or do you think that everyone is there for a different reason? Obviously, everyone's going to have their individual reasons, but sometimes there are similarities about, you know, the people that enter the beauty industry.
Yeah, I think they all have a sense of like creativity in them. And they're all tactile people. Like I think all our students are, or future professionals is what we call them. But like, I don't know if that answers your question. They all are driven. I find that a lot of them are all driven, especially our like esthetician or students who are going into skincare. They're very like one track mind. They're type
Really?
A. They're type A.
The Estes are type A?
Yeah.
Interesting.
And then the Cosmos and barbers are way more chill about stuff. I'm like one person in an office, and so sometimes
I need to know more. Why is that?
I don't know. I think with skincare, I've had a conversation with Danny about this. I talk about this a lot actually because I think it's really interesting.
By the way, check out our episode with Danny. We go over full licensing and teaching. It's fascinating. You should definitely listen.
I think when you're an esthetician, it's like just you. It's you doing the job. Like it's not a teamwork. And I think with hair, it's more of a team job. So you have to be more malleable, and like you have your friend who's like helping you do foils. I think that's what it's called. And
you got it right.
Yeah. And basically, yeah, they seem to be more collaborative people. Like Cosmos and barbers, there's more community there. Whereas in skincare, it's just you and your client. So it's very like self-focused.
That's really an interesting observation, because I have obviously had a lot of interaction with estheticians and, you know, injectors and a lot of different people in beauty, not just in the salon. Mm-hmm. But I do think there's a completely different culture to skincare. Mm-hmm. It is way more polished, way more sophisticated. Hair is way more rock and roll. Mm-hmm. Not that you can't have fun and, you know, be your wild self, whatever that may be in, you know, aesthetics, but your presentation is much different. Mm-hmm. Because of that intimate space with the client. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, they're very serious about their stuff. And their education's way different. Like they're spending so much time on anatomy and like all this different stuff that they really have to like lock in.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. So what would you say to someone that feels intimidated about investing in beauty school? Because I think probably some people do.
Yeah, I think it really depends. I always tell them what I felt when I was going into film school. I was very scared about I knew I always wanted to go to college, and that's what mattered to me. But going and spending, you know, $20,000 on an education is a lot, and it is very intimidating. And I think at the end of the day, you kind of have to ask this question to yourself. Is this worth it to you? And what are you willing to do to make sure it happens? And for me, it meant the world to me to graduate from college. And so from that, I didn't care about the debt. It meant more to me to get that degree. And so it's kind of that conversation with them. Does it mean a lot to you to go to school for this? Do you really care about hair? Because you can kind of care about hair and still go into debt for it, or you can really care about hair and know that at some point, kind of like throw it to the back of the burner, that you'll obviously pay off your debt. In the grand scheme, I also tell them that student loans for cosmetology school are a very small amount. They have a very limited amount that they can take out, and comparatively on student loan balances, it's very small and very doable to pay back.
It is. I think the big intimidation factor, I can speak for myself when I say this, was starting a clientele.
Yeah.
Where am I, how am I going to magically make this happen? I had moved from Grand Rapids, Michigan to LA. I didn't know a soul. I felt really frightened, honestly, like taking out the loan, even though you're right, compared to like many colleges, it's not that much. But creating a clientele out of thin air just seems impossible when you're in school. It only seems possible when you start to do it.
Yeah. I think what's cool from what I've observed, our building is a little weird, so I'm like kind of upstairs and I don't really get to see the floor that much. But I try to get out of my office and walk down a lot. You build a clientele in school. Like if people really like you, they will follow you, which is really cool. And I try to follow the FPs on Instagram after, just because I'm curious to see what they're doing.
Totally.
And a lot of them seem like they kind of got it under control. So I feel proud that at least the ones I have followed. And
that's so cool. Like what do you see? Say more. This would be my favorite part. If I had your job, I would be like peeking in on like, how is your career going?
Yeah. I mean, they tell us when they get interviews. Like we had a student who just graduated on Sunday, and she already has like a stylist or an assistant gig set up in Santa Monica. Like we do try and make sure that they have resume making, and a lot of our teachers are also doing hair on the side. So they talk to them about salons they know that are opening, or stylists that need assistance or things of that nature. So it's nice when I can like hear that they're going to interviews, like they'll post interview, or they build clientele while they're in school. One of our students, her name, or I shouldn't say her name, but one of them had a really good nail gig while she was in school. Like she did everyone's nails, and now that she's out, I know her books are booked because I can text some students that I'm closer with, and they're like, I'm getting my nails done by the person, and I'm like, good. I'm glad she's building out that clientele.
I love those happy endings. So I'm curious, as someone who studied a lot of film, what has been your experience of being so, connected to the beauty industry? Have you felt like there's been any kind of, shift in perspective with seeing film and beauty side by side? Because I'm sure you still have your passion for film, like being surrounded by the beauty industry. Because honestly, I got a lot of my start in beauty because I loved films. I loved Kate Winslet's red hair on the Titanic. I loved Kim Possible's cartoon orange hair. Had to have it. I don't know if is there any correlation that you find?
Yeah, I think the industry, I think they both kind of work hand in hand, and that just might be because it's LA. And so we have true, like we have a lot of students who are getting out and are picking up hair as like a new career, or who are still working. I think they're very similar. They're both two creative fields, with hair specifically and makeup. They're both super creative, and I think they just work hand in hand. They're peanut butter and jelly, the film industry and beauty industry. Obviously, we're sending clients that way. The film industry, actresses need their Botox and this, that, and the next thing, and need their hair done. And so I think they're just a match made in heaven in that way.
Yeah, there's a huge connection there. And I think that even if you don't live in LA, you're starting to see that connection deepen because social media is almost like having your own little entertainment bubble come to you. So wherever you live, you could live in Texas, you could live in Michigan, you could live in Idaho. You really are going to have that synergistic connection wherever there's a camera, even if it's on a phone. I think sometimes that can, have an unknown impact on what beauty is going to look like in the future, because you're no longer making a story. It's no longer the Titanic, right? Where you're doing the hair in a particular way. It's like more modern, right?
I think, I don't know. I'm always like on a pendulum of TikTok. If I love it, if I hate it. I think sometimes TikTok is like a scapegoat to like try and not pay a professional to do something because you want to do it yourself.
I won't say anything.
But I think that rings true for a lot of things. Or like, I guess on TikTok, everyone thinks they're the expert and they're not necessarily are.
Expert on anything, not just hair and beauty. Hair and beauty is an easy, access point. Because it is something that we bond over and it's something that we do together. But yes, you can basically be an expert on whatever you say confidently enough.
Yes. But on the flip side, TikTok is cool for community and like solving problems and getting like new ways to deal with issues. I know my roommate, she deals with a lot of skin issues, and I know that she can go on TikTok and see a bunch of different people's stories of things that they've tried, and it kind of opens her world for new things to try, which I think is more an internet thing, not a TikTok specific thing.
You're kind of leading me to ask, what kind of perspective could you possibly have having gone to film school? Being in a beauty school, seeing TikTok with all this easy access information, what's the motivation to go to school, right? Where does that sit in between all of these, like all of this floating information, right? Like the information in schools, whether it's for film, whether it's for hair, is gate kept. Whereas all this free floating information is, alive and well on TikTok. You could probably speak to that from so many different angles.
Yeah. At the end of the day, I believe that education is the most important thing we have, right? It is the strongest power we have as people to know things, to want to know things, to have access to know things. And I think also, I believe in higher education. I think it should be free, controversial, but I think all of it should be free. And I think we should all have access to be able to know the trade secrets or things like that. I think you can go on TikTok and say you've watched 100 films, right? And you could think, oh, well, because I've watched this 100 films, I know everything there is to know about film. I think that's ignorant to think that just because you've seen a section of something means that you know everything. I'm a big believer in that education is continual. Like you need to continue to learn till you die.
And long form is very different from short form.
So yeah, you could watch a 3-minute TikTok about foiling, but that's not going to matter when you're on your doll head, when you're on that client who, I don't even know if this is a thing, but in this scenario that they have crooked hair follicles or whatever. And you're like, what do I do? That doesn't matter because, oh, well, I watched this 3-minute video, I know. Well, you kind of have to practice doing it. And I think from what I've seen the benefit of cosmetology school and these things where you can work out these kinks, you can work out these practices. Me as a film lover and critiquer is kind of where my expertise lies. Is I continue to watch movies because I know there will never be enough of movies I've watched to know. Like I will never know every movie, which breaks my heart. I will never be able to see every movie ever made, but I can still move forward with that goal and still learn new things. You can't treat an old dog new tricks. Yes, you can, kind of thing, if that made sense.
No, it does make sense. It does. And I think that in an interesting way too, being able to have the patience to sit and take in a full piece of art, the same patience that you have to learn to sit with a client for however many hours. Patience at the end of the day is highly rewarding, and it only comes when you can allow like kind of like a greater wisdom to take over what you're doing. And I don't think that really happens with short bits and pieces. I'm not a huge fan of patience, you know? It's like I wanted my career right away. I wanted to make money right away. I wanted, I wanted everything right away, and I wanted to skip my ABCs. And even my first boss, she was super French, and she is super French. She lives and breathes today, y'all. But she would really get on my case a lot and be like, Eva, you're always skipping your ABCs. Like, you're always jumping over your ABCs, trying to like get like way farther ahead. And I think a lot of that comes from seeing all of this like really polished media and thinking that you're behind and that your timing is really off. And yeah, I think everyone falls victim to that.
Yeah, I think, ding, 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 ding. I've been feeling that so much lately. Like, since I moved out here, I just feel like I haven't done anything. And my whole family is like, well, you moved. And I'm like, I'm only 23, which might...
Oh, Lord.
which might surprise people.
Oh, girl.
And I feel like I'm behind. And I know I'm not. I know I have like my whole life ahead of me, but...
It doesn't stop the feeling.
No.
It doesn't stop that crushing feeling of feeling behind.
Yeah. And TikTok, bring it back to TikTok. Evil, evil, evil. Definitely makes me feel behind in that way. Like,
I didn't have TikTok at your age, so I really had no idea, I had no idea what a lot of other people were doing.
Yeah. I mean, it's like every well, and also I grew up at a weird age. I'm not like a millennial, and I'm like Gen Zs, but I'm in a like mix of both.
Yeah.
And so it's like I grew up with social, like the evolution of social media. So like I remember times when there wasn't, and it was like kind of freeing. And then now it's like, it's like at us at 11 all the time, everyone doing everything better, perfecter, whatever, getting more success than you at all times. And it is a little much, I will say.
I wish I could put myself in your shoes and feel that at 23, because I feel like age definitely gives you more distance from those like pressing feelings. But I was so sensitive at 23. I'm sure no one was as sensitive as I was, but the intensity of like the FOMO at the time with Facebook was a lot. I can't imagine what it would be like for me to get on TikTok and just be inundated, seeing all these people live the dreams that I wanted to live.
Yeah.
Or be the people that I wanted to be. Because sometimes, at a certain age, at least for me, I very much wanted a certain aesthetic, and I wanted to be able to like execute on that aesthetic. And that's what a lot of people do really well on social media. And it's, a lot of it is smoke and mirrors, which I have nothing against, but you don't always know that at the time.
I know. You really have to, it's hard to suspend your disbelief. It's like a theater term where like, you're like, I can pretend that there's a house, even though there's not a house. It's hard to suspend your disbelief. Maybe I'm not even using that right in this sentence, but it's like if I see someone on TikTok and they're like they're doing a day in their life at Universal, and I'm like, yikes, I wish that was me. Like, I really wish. And I don't know, there's also like a kind of mind mess where I am out here, and I'm like, it totally could be, but it is hard to break into these things and build that network and everything. It's like you said, like, I'm not good with patience either. So I'm like, I want it now. But have I put in the work? Have I laid down the ground? Have I made that step forward? I don't know.
Well, it's interesting because you have a job that does that for other people.
Yeah.
So you're sort of experiencing it from many different angles. You're experiencing it from your own experience of, wanting to be where you want to be, but you're also working day in and day out, laying the groundwork for people and having those conversations. So it's almost like you have the wisdom for someone else, it's so much easier to do it for someone else,
Yes.
isn't it? Mm-hmm. Oh, that feels good, right? But then when it comes to doing it for you, it's almost like it's like that crazy, I don't know, Disney, like Snow White, anything where like the thorns are growing over your path.
Yeah.
That's what it feels like.
Or like I feel like a newborn baby when it comes to me. Like I'm like, I don't know. But if I'm talking to a student, I'm like, oh, you need to do this, 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 and this. You should try this, this, and this. I'm not good at taking my own advice.
I don't think any of us are.
No.
I don't think any of us are. I think the more that we work together to create perspective for each other, the better off we'll be in giving it to ourselves. Mm-hmm. But it's almost like we have to do it as a collective in order for this to succeed, because all those little pieces, all the little mycelia that we are, like we have to connect to send out the signals of like, hey, we can have a larger perspective. We can still be creatives. We can still do and make the art that we want to do, but we sort of have to build this support network around it.
Mm-hmm. Yep. Community is...
What do you think would be the most supportive in like for your dream? I'm just curious. Like what would actually make you feel more connected to like where you're going right now?
I have no idea. Well, so right now, the idea or the goal in mind is I want to go back to school and get my master's in library science, and I want to work in...
You're interested in the most interesting things, and it's so homey, everything that you're interested in.
I want to do film archive work. I really love, this is so nerdy, I love film made before the 1900s. So like super silent films. I don't know if you know who George Millet is. He did like The Trip to the Moon. It's like this short film where there's like a bomb that goes off to the moon.
I've seen TikToks.
Okay.
Don't hate me.
Okay. Anyways, so I love...
It's not just TikToks, but I've seen clips of this. It's a beautiful movie.
Yes. And so I just love that era of a film. To me, it's like so stripped back and raw, and it's like, I love the idea of something before the precipice of something new, like them experimenting like Lumiere and everything. They're just filming stuff because they don't know the power of film. So like you see like the train arriving at the station, and that was like everything. And then you think about Mission Impossible 8 that I just watched, and Tom Cruise is like spinning in the submarine. Anyways, so it's like this, I just love that era of film, and it's so interesting to me, even though it is like 8-second clips of people just walking, and you're like, man, maybe we're not so different than them, because I have plenty of clips of me just zooming around.
No, and you know what I think you spoke to and really made alive for me is that little piece of of being in the in-between moment before your next moment, and just how amazing and incredible it is to be there doing what you're doing, not knowing what's next. Mm-hmm. I just feel like you lit up my entire imagination speaking on that, because that's the magic of betting on yourself. That's the magic of, putting your name down to go to school, or, having any conversation about what you want your future to be. It's kind of living in that in-between moment. And, that's really, we forget how magical that is. Mm-hmm. And again, this is why I love looking for it sometimes outside of ourselves, so that we can kind of bring it back in and look for it inside again. Mm-hmm. So it gives you a little bit of strength and a little bit of power to sit in the space that you are.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. The precipice of something new, I think, is the coolest feeling ever. Like you can see the achievement on the horizon, and you're like, wow, I'm almost there. Like a countdown for anything. You're like, whoa, ooh, how exciting.
That is so I love that. I love that. That's very unique to you. I don't know many people that bring that alive the way that you do.
Yeah.
Okay, beauty differences from Texas to LA. Speak on it, because you're fresh.
Oh, okay. One of our other teachers does my hair all the time, and so I always joke, like, this is such a small one, but I'm like, where's the helmet where they pull through the hair?
Stop it right this instant.
About highlights?
Absolutely not. They don't.
When I was a kid, yeah.
Seriously?
Yeah, that's how my mom got her highlights.
Babe.
I feel like they still do it in Texas, but I don't know.
Girl.
The cap.
The cap.
More
She's been
blondes.
extinct in LA for at least 40 years.
No, yeah. Definitely seen the cap.
Oh, I love that. Bring it back.
I feel like in lots of blonde. Well, I feel like there's blondes everywhere.
Hold on, we have to circle back to the cap moment because there's probably some listeners out there that have no idea what the cap is. So let me explain this. Back in the day, and this was the heyday in LA for this technique, would have been the 80s, and you would put this shower cap with holes on your head and you would tie it down under your chin. Then you would take a crochet hook and flit it through the holes, loop hair, and pull it out. From what I've heard from people who have survived this era of hair, it is horrendously painful. Now, after you have pulled that hair out with the crochet hook, you take bleach and you bleach those hairs all over the cap. You get into it, you get it real saturated, and you have some very tiny little baby lights all over the situation. I have never done this. I have seen videos. And I have heard stories from people who have had it done to their hair, but that is the cap. That is the cap, baby. As a Gen Z, I think it is beautiful that you have seen this in your lifetime. I think that is gorgeous.
I think the image just lives with me. I just remember being in the salon and watching. I feel like my mom had it done. I don't know. Now I feel like I have to text her.
We're all living in parallel universes at different time zones, like Doctor Who.
So yeah, the cap. Lots of blondes out there, big hair. So we're talking, like, if you watch, I just find it comforting to watch Dallas Cowboy cheerleaders.
I mean, I want to be one.
Yeah.
We all want to drop in that split, honey, right now.
But how they do their hair, like, with all the hairspray and, like, the bumps, I don't know, reminds me of home. So I'm like, yeah, like that. Like, lots of hairspray.
Did you do your hair like that?
No.
Really?
But, well, one time I did a bump for a Dress Like Someone Else day.
Oh my God.
I grew up in a city, but I went to a high school that was agricultural. I'm such a mix mash of stuff. So I was in FFA. So lots of like big hair, higher to God, closer, or higher the hair, closer to God kind of era. But I never wore my hair like that. I've always been a black sheep, weird kid.
You do give me Silver Lake. That's the vibe I'm getting from you.
Well, thank you.
I like that vibe.
I'm glad I got it.
Yeah.
The dream out here.
Totally. So I think what interested me about moving from Michigan to LA is that there's so much more room for self-expression. Mm-hmm. I definitely felt like I was able to be more free and to try so many different looks and every single hair color I wanted and shave half my head, everything. And it was nobody batted an eye. Mm-hmm. And that was my favorite thing about being in my 20s in LA was the freedom to just try things. Because if I had tried to do that in my hometown, I would have been looked at sideways in all the ways and probably crushed. You know, no one probably would have meant that in a, hostile way, but it's just that it's not the environment to be super experimental. Mm-hmm. So I really appreciate that about LA, was just getting to go wild. Mm-hmm. Have you had any experiences like that yourself?
Well, this is my first, no, that's a lie. I keep my hair normally short, but out here I've had fun with my haircuts. I had this, I'm a huge fan of the show MASH, which is from the 70s. And one of those characters had the greatest haircut of all time. And I was like, I need this haircut.
Okay, what haircut is this?
So it's like a 60s bob situation. And then it had like these, what are they called? Sideburn curl. I have a picture on my phone, but I think it's somewhere over there. So I had that for a minute. So it was like super short, and then I had these like curl bits. This hair is based off of a character.
You're like me. You love to base your hair off a character.
Yeah.
Right now I'm just based off of the Hot Bitch, but what is this based off of?
Yelena from Thunderbolts. It's a Marvel movie. And she has the grown out roots.
Oh my God. I loved her hair. Every
so that's
scene.
What this is.
Love. And I can see it. The minute you said it, What a great character.
I know. Johnny is who does my hair, and I told him like 2 days before I went, so we're gonna bleach it. And he went, ugh. But yeah, so that's what this hair is. It took 2 lightnings. And then before this, I had a calico kind of hair situation. So I had my normal cut, but then I had like the red I've always been fun with, when I got into college, I started becoming fun with color. So I had like pink hair, I had turquoise, I had Cruella for 1.5 years, so half black, half platinum, and then I grew that out.
I love it, and I eat it up.
And my hair grows like weeds. I'm very lucky, so.
Yes. Okay, but I have to highly recommend to anyone listening, anyone and everyone, by the way, you've got to try basing your hair off of a movie character.
Yeah.
At least once in your life. Just pick someone that is like gonna fire you up and be a muse for you. I keep mentioning her, but Kate Winslet from the Titanic was the first time I ever dyed my hair, and I had to be red. I was like, I need to be her.
I can see you as red. I thought it was awesome.
It was, but it's also about the energy of the character that you're putting on.
Mm-hmm.
And that's why I love using references like that.
Mm-hmm.
So I always ask a few questions at the end of every episode.
Okay.
And you know, you're quite young. You're quite young, but what would you say to a version of your younger self from where you are now, even though you're on the precipice of like what's next for you. You're in that in between, like you described loving so much in your favorite movies. Mm-hmm. What would you go back and say to your younger self?
I would tell younger Kaylee that we did leave Texas, because that was her goal of all time, was to leave. And that a lot of stuff's gonna happen, but it'll be okay. You'll find your way out of it, and you'll be happier for it, I think is what I would tell them.
I love that. And the last question is what does beauty mean to you?
This is a tough question. And I knew you were going to ask this. So I was thinking about it on the drive over. I think beauty to me means what makes you happy. Whether that be like wearing your hair a certain way, putting on clothes that you like. I think at the end of the day, your most beautiful, or beauty in self, is you being yourself no matter what. Even though it's hard and awkward and you don't feel comfortable doing it all the time.
I love that. I got reminded, I think it was yesterday or today, Madonna posted on her Instagram story that, she really admired Frida Kahlo for always being herself. And she said something to the effect of, like, if she could be herself all the way to the end with everything that she went through, I can do it too. Mm-hmm. And it's really interesting to see someone that I look up to and I think is an incredible person, and kind of be let in and know, like, hey, they still struggle and have to choose to be themselves too, like every day. And that's something that is part of our lives, and it's like normal.
Yeah.
But it's also something we forget. Mm-hmm. And we forget other people go through it. Mm-hmm. So I think that's such a cool thing to realize at your age.
Yeah. I don't know. I got a lot of old wisdom up there.
I think you do. Well, thank you so much for being on this episode of the podcast. It was an absolute pleasure. Thank you for letting us into, your imagination. That was a beautiful place. If you want anyone to find you on social media, where would they find you?
My Instagram handle is Groovy Puke. It is private, but I will accept anyone. So
maybe you'll get a little film buff criticism if you give her a follow.
I definitely repost lots of pictures of films. So if you're looking for aesthetically pleasing looking films, I'm your go-to.
Or hair references for that matter.
Yeah.
Well, thank you for listening. Thank you for joining us for every episode of the Beauty Ritual podcast. Make sure you hit subscribe and follow. It helps us so much to create the content that we love to make. I absolutely adore you for listening. So I will see you next time. Make sure to follow me at beauty_ritual on Instagram and on YouTube. Mwah.
A beauty entertainment broadcast. podcast.